Well, welcome to this video. Today we're going to be keeping things pretty simple. I have Joe Kendrick with Wind Waker Unflooded. He's been working on some really cool projects, and he's going to quiz me, and I'm going to quiz him on Wind Waker questions. And we're going to see how much Zelda YouTubers actually know about the franchise that they love so much. I'm hoping that this goes well. How are you doing, Joe?
I'm doing great. I'm really looking forward to quizzing you. I'll say, like, I wouldn't have known all the answers to some of the questions that I'm going to ask you. It's going to be tough.
That's fair. I have my questions ranked by difficulty. So I have the easy ones early, hard ones later. And I had to look up the answers for all of the later ones just to like fact check myself. I thought I knew, but I had to make sure I knew.
I think I fact-checked all my answers as well. Double-checked with, if it's not in-game evidence, I at least double-checked it with, like, the Zelda wiki. So I feel pretty good about the accuracy of what we're going to go through tonight.
Yeah, sounds good. Before we get into the actual quiz section, do you want to go ahead and tell us a little bit about your channel and what you do, any projects you have going on?
Yeah, so on my channel, I run a fan project called Wind Waker Unflooded, which is a 3D modeling fan art project where I am reimagining the Kingdom of Hyrule as it could have existed within the world and art style of The Legend of Zelda: The Wind Waker, corresponding all the islands of the Great Sea to the mountaintops of Hyrule and just sculpting out the rest of the world that we never got to explore. So it's a lot of fun, and look at the channel, and there's always something new happening, a lot of contributors, and yeah, it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, I actually first stumbled upon you as like a creator just through my shorts feed, and I got all of your modeling videos coming up as you like drain the water and you show like, oh, here's what Windfall Island would have looked like next to Kakariko Village, or this is what Outset Island looks like. That's Orden Village, right?
It's close to it if it's not Orden Village.
Yeah,
exactly.
Somewhere around there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just thought it was the coolest thing ever to watch. So I definitely recommend it. Go check it out, and I'll link his channel and my favorite video down in the description. Well, in any case, I think that we can jump right into it. So I'm gonna go ahead and start us off with question number 1, and I'll give you the question, and then we'll go over the answer, and then when we finish that up, you can hit me with your question 1, and we'll go through, and I think we both have 10 questions, right?
That's correct.
So question number 1, what settlement from Ocarina of Time is Windfall Island supposedly a remnant of?
I'll take Kakariko Village for 500.
That is correct. I just barely realized that I totally just said that like 5 seconds ago. You're totally right. I don't know if that's 100% like canon information. I know that it's mentioned in Hyrule Historia at one point as a specific reference, and I know that it's at least what everyone like agrees on.
It's at least a specific reference, right? It's confusing, and I've had people in my comments say like, well, maybe it's not exactly Kakariko because Kakariko should be like on the base of Death Mountain, but I'm like, well, the geography changes. It's clearly like the music references, like the Windfall Island theme references the Kakariko theme from Ocarina of Time. There's architectural similarities. Like, to me, it's all clear enough, yeah. All right, question 1. What are the names of the 2 old brothers who live on Outset Island, one which teaches you the ways of the sword, and the other who teaches you L targeting?
Gotcha. So I know for sure we got Orca, who's the one that has a spear, and he's the one that teaches you the sword. I believe his brother is named Sturgeon.
That's right. All right, ding, ding, ding.
I could not have given you his brother's name if I had not come across that while I was doing research for this video specifically. So I'm kind of worried about your other questions now.
That's the easy stuff.
Oh, man. All right. Well, I got a question 2 for you if you're ready for it.
I'm ready.
Question number 2 is, at the very end of the game, what blunder prevents Ganondorf from wishing on the Triforce?
The King of Hyrule gets to it first.
That is technically correct. There's another thing that is called out specifically by the King of Hyrule. Do you know what that is?
Oh, what does he say? He's touching it, right? Like it's whoever holds the Triforce and asks.
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Yep, that's it. That one has always kind of like gotten under my skin a little bit because Ganondorf just kicked Link's butt at the end, right? And he has the full Triforce assembled. He's not gonna get blown off by it separating again because he reassembled it, got the whole thing going for him, but he just like doesn't touch it and he loses. And then like the King of Hyrule's a ghost, so like can he actually touch it? Does that even count?
No, it's a weird technicality. Definitely a Deus Machina for sure.
Yeah, I mean it works thematically, I think, for the story, but as like a super nitty-gritty detail thing, goofy. It was goofy. But yeah, you're totally right. You got both parts of that question.
Let's go. All right, question number 2. There are stained glass windows in the Hyrule Castle basement that showcase 6 of the 7 sages from Ocarina of Time. Which one do they leave out, and what character do they put in their place?
Ooh, I'm gonna have to think pretty hard about this one. So I'm gonna name off the ones that I know for certain are there, because I know that we have Impa, we have Ruto, Darunia, Nabooru, Saria. That's all of the dungeon sages. And then I believe one of the stained glass depictions is it of Zelda?
I'll never tell.
Gosh, I'm trying to remember. There's part of me that's like, hey, Darunia is not the correct answer, but I'm pretty sure Darunia is in there. And then the other one would be Saria would get replaced by something, but you said 6 sages. And I know that Zelda would most likely be the odd one out. So I'm going to say Zelda isn't depicted in stained glass. And in her stead, it's like a 2-part question. Is it the King of Hyrule?
Is this your final answer?
That's not my final answer. Give me a second. I'm going to try and manifest this from the back of my mind. The problem I'm having right now is in my mind, I'm mixing up the stained glass from Minish Cap into the mess of Wind Waker. I know that there's a depiction of Ganon at some point, somewhere. You know what? I'm just going to hard commit. Final answer. I could totally be wrong. I think that Zelda is missing from the stained glass, and she's replaced by a depiction of Ganon.
That is correct.
Let's go! No way.
Well done.
I did not think I was going to pull that through. That was just a Hail Mary.
See, Zelda is depicted in Hyrule Castle in a painting, and that's totally separate, right, from the stained glass windows downstairs. Very well done.
I was thinking of in the stained glass opening of Minish Cap, there's a depiction of a moblin in stained glass. And I was like, am I confusing like a moblin for Ganon? But apparently I wasn't, so I'll take it. All right, are you ready for question 3? What are the names of the 2 dead sages that guard the Earth Temple and the Wind Temple?
Okay, we have easy. It's Laruto and Fado. Locking it in.
Is that your final answer?
Laruto and Fado. I'm locking it in. I'm 100% confident.
You are correct. Yeah, we got Fado and Laruto. For some reason, I wrote down Laruta, like with an A. And that's not right. It's Ruto.
Okay, good.
But that would have been right either way. I'm not gonna dock you points for a vowel.
I would have taken points off if it was wrong.
Fair enough.
But I appreciate that.
I feel like I severely underestimated how easy the easy questions should be. I'm like, man, I should have been meaner with my questions.
Yeah, I'm sorry. And it's only going to get tougher for mine. I'm sorry.
That's all right. I'm always down for a challenge. I'm not confident that I'm going to get a single one right from yours after this now.
Question 3. Windfall Island is home to many memorable characters. What are the names for the 2 girls who were kidnapped from the island and brought to the Forsaken Fortress?
I don't think I even have that in my memory. I'll tell you what I do have as I kind of try and tease that out of my memory. I know the moblin that one of them has a relationship with is named Mo, because I made a short specifically about those 2 girls and the moblin Mo.
You are right that one of them has a relationship with the moblin.
I got that going for me. Yeah, I don't know if I have those names in my memory. I might give you...
Do you have a guess?
Yeah, I'll give you some guesses, but they're not going to be right. I knew I should have studied up on character names. Let's go with Cassidy for one of them, and I'm fairly certain one of them it starts with an M. I want to say Medley, and I know that's wrong because Medley's a completely different character.
That would be wrong if you said that.
So let's call her Marie.
Oh, is that your final answer? I'm giving you a chance to change it.
Those are my final answers.
All right, that's tough. There is a Mrs. Marie on Windfall Island. She is not one of the girls. She is the school teacher. That is incorrect.
Did I get either of them?
No, I would have given you half credit if you did. The correct answers are Maggie and Mila.
Maggie and Mila, you said?
Maggie and Mila.
See, I knew M's were in there somewhere, but that's all I had.
Alas. I got a couple other like easy-ish ones that I think you'll get. You'll have another chance.
I should have known better than to challenge like the Wind Waker expert from the Zelda community to a Wind Waker specific quiz.
Yeah, you're on my home turf right now.
All right, question 4. While speedrunning Wind Waker, there is a specific glitch called the Super Swim. How does this glitch work?
Ooh, this is a good question. My understanding of it, you don't have to give me points if I'm not close. I don't even know if I could say how it's performed. I think it's performed by, like, you use pause buffering. That's what I'm assuming. I don't even know if pause buffering is used anymore. But my understanding is Super Swim works because is it like Mario 64, like BLJs, where like there's a cap on forward momentum, but not on backwards momentum. So for swoop, this is my guess. For super swimming, you have to frame by frame go from moving forward to backwards, and you pause buffer so you have frame exact movements, because to max out like Link's backwards momentum. So super swimming, the hard part that I understand is like also getting the angles right, building up enough momentum and getting the angle precisely right. And so it's just a frame by frame adjusting until you can perfectly get an angle to shoot you anywhere across the map. That's my understanding of it.
As far as I understand the Super Swim glitch, that is correct.
Okay.
Because I'm not going to like sit here and pretend that I'm a developer. I understand how it works from random YouTube videos that I've seen about it.
That's a good question.
But yeah, you're totally right. There isn't a cap on negative momentum. And while you're swimming, Link maintains momentum when you stop moving. And so if you turn around every single frame, you can build up that momentum. And for most people who are like casually speedrunning, if that's even like a term that can apply to speedrunning, they do pause buffer. But when you get up to like the higher end, you have speedrunners like Linkus who do it without pause buffering.
He does it without pause buffering. Wow.
Just back and forth. It's really funny. There's a picture of him somewhere on the internet where he just has one arm that's like huge.
Right.
And the other one not so much, from just like flicking that thing back and forth every single frame.
That's awesome.
But yeah, I think that was a good enough explanation that I'll give you a point for that.
Let's go. I was like, this is how I think it works. Probably based on Linkus's videos, but I'm like, ooh, I super do not know for sure. You would think I would know more about Wind Waker speedrunning. I've watched a couple of videos, but I really follow Mario 64 speedrunning, and I watch that a good bit more. And simply, I'm a big fan of his, and I mean all those content creators, of course. But yeah, you would think I would know my Wind Waker. Question 4: how many pieces has the Triforce of Courage been broken into?
8. Final answer.
All right, easy. He's got it.
The reason I remember that so easily is because it's the same number as the original Legend of Zelda, and I always thought that was interesting. And it makes me wonder if when you fracture the Triforce, it can only be broken into 8 specific pieces. I don't know if there's like significance to that or something.
Yeah, that's as far as I know. Yeah, I think that's true. Are those the only examples of the Triforce being fractured, or like an independent piece of it being fractured?
I believe so. Yeah, because you have like a Link Between Worlds where in low rule they're able to completely destroy the Triforce, but I think that's like an Infinity Stones situation where they destroy the Triforce using the Triforce. And like that was the only way it could have been done. Yeah, I think those are the only 2 examples of Triforce shards.
Well then, yeah. I wonder if there's some significance there. If 8 is like a holy number in the same way that within like Judeo-Christian traditions, right? It's like there's significance with 3s and 7s, and of course 3s are also significant in Zelda's lore.
It totally could be, because you look at a lot of Nintendo games when they're breaking up like Zelda dungeons or like Mario worlds. It almost always comes down to you have like 8 like base dungeons, and then you have like the final dungeon. Or you have like 8 Mario worlds, and then you have world special, or whatever they want to call it. But yeah, it does break down a lot like that. I don't know if it's just convenient for game design or if it has like cultural significance, like you were saying.
Or it could even be like fictional cultural significance within the world of Hyrule.
I'm gonna write that down as a short idea. Give me 1 second into my giant list of short ideas.
Oh, I'm sure.
Most of them are really bad ideas, but you got to brainstorm at some point.
Yeah, well, I like your short. So however you got it figured out, you got a good system going.
Are you ready for question 5?
Yes.
So this one's a gameplay question. I tried to have a little bit of variety with like characters, story elements, but this one's gameplay.
Okay.
What direction does the wind need to blow in order to start the windmill on Windfall Island?
This is a pure guess. I know that there's times where I've done this challenge and I've gone one by one because I don't remember it. You know, it's a guess and they're as good as any. I'm going to say north and commit to it.
Right on. That's a good guess.
Is that right?
It is north.
Let's go.
Yeah, I'm totally with you. That's one of the reasons I picked that as a question. I was like, what's something that like you should know, but like, do you know it kind of thing? But yeah, it's north.
Okay, good. That was purely a guess too.
I mean, you had a 25% chance no matter what. So, you know, decent odds going into it, multiple choice.
I'll take that. Yeah, I'll take that. Are you ready for question 5?
I'm ready for question 5.
All right. During this boss battle, Puppet Ganon has 3 forms. What are they?
Right on. So I don't know if they have actual names.
I don't need actual names as long as it's correct.
Okay, so the first one is you got the giant puppet, right? Stringed up like a strung up like a marionette, and he looks kind of similar to Beast Ganon from the other games, especially reminiscent of his silhouette from Zelda 2 with like big round bulbous arms, and then like the face. Well, I guess the face actually stays the same throughout the boss fight. But the next one, giant spider. I think that one was really fun, really clever, because you have to like look at the reflection on the floor in order to get it. And then the third one, you could call it a snake, which is normally how I refer to that part of the boss fight. However, I think it's specifically a reference to, I don't know, the one boss that pushes you off the top of the Tower of Hera in A Link to the Past.
Yeah,
because
I'll give you snake for that. I think it's Moldorm.
Yeah, Moldorm. That's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the boss I'm thinking of. I knew it was mold something, but there's like a million different mold bosses.
There are, right? And they're all. It all comes back to Moldorm.
But yeah, you got all of those.
Yeah.
And those are the 3 phases for that boss fight.
That is correct.
Sweet. Maybe I actually do know some stuff about Wind Waker.
Yeah, you're doing good. I think you've only missed one.
Yeah, I'm really not great with character names. I like make up names for characters unless they're like super important.
I got bad news for you in a couple questions, but that's a later that's a later problem.
Hopefully I can pull those from my memory somewhere. All right, this is in my opinion where it starts ramping up a little bit. So after this point, they're all going to be pretty difficult. Okay. After beating the game, you can restart and you receive an invisible tunic instead of the traditional hero's clothes. What is the name of the invisible tunic?
The name of the invisible tunic. Okay, yeah, this is just a guess. Because it's like a parody of the Emperor's New Clothes, right? Where like only pure people can see it, right? But he doesn't actually receive any clothes. I'm gonna guess that it's the hero's new clothes. That's the best I have.
There's no way, man. It's the hero's new clothes. You nailed it right on the head.
No way. Let's go. Oh,
see,
man.
that's one where I was looking. I knew that I had a specific question in mind where I was like, okay, what is that called? Initially, that question was what do people call that? Because normally in the base game, they say like, oh, yeah, that hero wearing green, but you're not wearing green in the second one. And so I'm pretty sure they replace it by saying wearing nice blue clothes, but I couldn't find any character dialogue to back that up. And so I was like, okay, we got to change that since I don't know for sure. But I didn't know that it was called that until I was writing that question.
So
I'm
crazy.
Impressed that you pulled that.
Hey, I mean, like I said, that was purely a guess. I'm like, if they're pulling from what I think they're pulling from, that's the best I had. Man, all right, I'll take that. I'll take the dub. Like, I feel like I don't deserve it. Like, this has happened a couple of times. Just because I get it right doesn't mean I deserve it.
Hey, it's just like taking any test. You know, if you understand how to answer questions on a test, then sometimes you don't need to know the actual answer. You just have to get close enough.
That's true. That's where we're
that
at.
You can like work through it.
Are you ready for question 6?
I am ready for question 6.
Question 6. Outside of Ganondorf's door, in the ship at the top of the Forsaken Fortress, he has 2 crests displayed on the door frame. To which Hyrulean race do these crests belong?
All right, so right off the bat, I'm going to say Gerudo because it'd be weird if it wasn't for one of them. The fact that you're saying there's two is tripping me up a little bit.
They both belong to the same race. They're both on opposite sides of the doorframe.
Both symbols belong to the same race?
I'm only asking about one symbol. It's repeated twice.
Well, now I'm not so confident with the Gerudo symbol from Ocarina of Time.
Yeah, you don't have to lock it in yet.
My one thought is that it would either have to be that or it would have to be the Hyrule Royal Crest. But the Hyrule Royal Crest doesn't make sense to me. So I'm just going to hard commit Gerudo symbol from Ocarina of Time.
Is this your final answer?
It sounds like it shouldn't be, but it is.
All right. That is incorrect. The correct answer is Sheikah.
Really?
There are two Sheikah teardrop symbols on the doorframe to Ganondorf's door. I'm sorry.
Dude, that's wild. I've never noticed that a single time.
Jamie, pull up a clip.
If in case anyone's curious, I am Jamie. Well, I found a picture of it, but Link is standing directly in front of it, so it's not doing me any good. Are you ready for question 7? We're getting to the end here.
Yes, I'm excited. Frankly, I'm excited. It's been an honor to be on the show.
I'm glad to have you here. It's a good time.
It's been a pleasure.
So we got question 7. According to Orca, why were he and his brother unable to learn the Hurricane Spin?
Ooh. Why were they unable to learn it?
Or I guess perform might be a better word, because they knew enough that they could teach Link.
I'm going to guess because they had not found enough Knight's Crests.
That is correct. So according to them, they had only found a couple of Knight's Crests and were therefore unable to complete it. That's why Orca sends Link on the quest. He's like, hey, find these things. And then obviously it's very emotional for him when he finally gets to see Link perform it.
Yeah, I remember that cutscene. I'll take the dub. I was like, I know this is how Link learns it, so maybe this is what they were missing. Are you ready for question number 7?
I hope so.
What are the names listed on Phantom Ganon's sword?
It is Zubora and Gaebora.
That is correct. Well done.
Are you ready for question 8?
Yeah, why not? I'm ready.
There is an inscription on the sword that Phantom Ganon uses. What does it say?
Zubora, Gaebora. No way.
That's funny. You even put it in like the same spot.
That's hilarious. That's hilarious. I figured that might happen once, you know.
I mean, it's always an occupational hazard when you're doing something like this.
I don't have any backup questions, so all right, you got a freebie.
Right on. I did read it off of my answer sheet. I hope that's not cheating. I did know it, but
I allow it. Yeah. Let's see. Is it back to me? Do we just ping pong?
Yeah, that'd be back to you.
All right. Question 8. This is an either or. There is a gang of kids on Windfall Island that terrorizes the school teacher, Mrs. Marie. What is the name of the gang? Or what are the names of the kids?
I know the name of the gang. Wait, did you ask for the gang or the school? Sorry.
What is the name of the gang? Or what are the names of the kids?
I could not tell you the name of the kids. I have like made up names for all of them, but the name of the gang is the Killer Bees.
That is correct.
Let's go.
That is correct. No, I was like, the kids are impossible, but just in case.
I know one of them is dressed like a newsie for some reason, but
yeah.
And that always made me laugh as a kid.
Congratulations.
Thank you. I'm glad I could pull that from my memory. Like I said, these are getting a little bit harder as we get down to the bottom. So I hope I'm not being too mean with this question.
Well, vice versa.
Which bosses from Wind Waker also appear in Four Swords Adventure?
Do you want all of them?
Any of them that appear in both games.
Okay, I'm thinking through my memory. The only ones I remember are Phantom Ganon and the Helmarock King. I'm locking that in because I don't remember any else. Is that it?
You're right. Yeah. So I was hoping to catch you off guard with that one because there's one other boss that looks the same as Jalhalla from Wind Waker, but it is not Jalhalla. It's Big Poe.
Oh yeah, let me Google this. That's crazy.
Yeah, it's that one I thought was kind of funny. Because I wrote the question and I was like, yeah, you got Helmrock King, you got Phantom Ganon, and you have Jalhalla. And then I looked it up and I was like, you do not have Jalhalla, apparently.
Oh, man, I don't know the last time I played Four Swords Adventures, so I'm going to be real. I do not even remember there being a Jalhalla boss. So that is not me being smart. That is me totally forgetting.
Yeah, Four Swords Adventure is a trip of a game. It takes a lot of inspiration from the other Zelda games while making it like a little off-brand. It almost feels like you walked into like a Dollar General of the Legend of Zelda, where everything's just like barely off from the name brands.
I really like it. I don't know the last time I played it. It was probably like 6 years ago, but recent enough that like I enjoyed it and recommend it to people. I'll take it over Triforce Heroes.
Yeah, I think I agree with that. It's a fun one for sure. It feels like an actual Zelda game as opposed to Triforce Heroes, which feels like it was fine, but just kind of like a roguelite's not the right word, but kind of the same like vibe, just without the randomness.
Right.
Well, I am ready for your next question.
Question 9.
I hope.
I'm sorry. What are the names of the Seers mentioned in tablets on Shark Island and Windfall Island?
I'm going to level with you right now. I didn't know that there were Seers mentioned on Sharktail Island and Windfall Island.
So on Shark Island, I'm happy to jog your memory a little bit. There's a tablet that says essentially trigger the 4 switches and the path will be opened. It says something like that. And then it has a citation.
Oh, so okay. I know who you're talking about now. And then the other one is when you light the lighthouse on Windfall, right?
That's right.
Yeah, and it's like, so says this person the seer.
Yes.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about for sure now. The fact that I knew that it was like blank the seer as the thing, I know that it's in there somewhere.
Yeah, you knew that it was the lighthouse.
And I'm reasonably confident that it starts with a Z. I don't know if I should be confident about that, but I feel confident about that for no reason.
You know, two of them have two of the names start with 2-letter initials. I would give you credit if you could give me the initials.
So what you're saying is they're two different people and it's not the same seer.
It's not the same seer. There are 2 seers.
And they have initials. So kind of the reasoning that I'm going through right here is there's a good chance that they use this as an opportunity to be a reference to something. Because the Zelda team likes to do that. Sometimes they just make up random names and that's fun too. But a lot of the time they do take it as an opportunity to do a reference. But I don't think it is this time.
Do you have a guess?
Yeah, I'll give you a guess. So they both have like a first and a last name, and you'll take the initials for them, right?
I'll tell you the format that we know. What we know is 2 initials, and then they have a listed last name. We don't know the names for those initials, but we do know that they both start with 2 letters and then a last name. Even if you could give
here's
the
my
letters.
guess. My first guess is EA, and my second guess is SM.
That is incorrect. First off, let me write down your guesses. Your guesses were EA and SM.
For AGA Inuma and Shigeru Miyamoto.
A very good guess. The correct answer is SW Pachet and JL Pakal.
Yeah, there was no shot I was going to pull that from my memory.
I wouldn't have gotten it either. That one's for the people playing along at home.
If you guys can get it, I mean, you can say whatever you want in the comments. I'll have no idea if you're telling the truth. But if you did get that, I am very impressed because it sounds like even Joe had to look that one up.
I did not know this. I had to look it up.
Question number 10. If you can get this one right, you will have done a perfect game. But it is, in my opinion, the hardest question of the bunch because it's part of the game that very few people choose to complete. In Karlov's Hall of Figurines, there are 7 different rooms. Each room represents a different category of figurine. What are the 7 categories?
I'm like mentally, like I'm doing like the Sherlock Holmes like mind palace where I'm like imagining the space and I'm looking around. I don't know if it doesn't have to be in order, does it?
No, you can do it in whatever order you want. I just need all 7 of them.
Okay, I'm gonna say we have a miscellaneous ocean room, Dragon Roost Cavern, the Forbidden Woods, the Forsaken Fortress. There's an Outset Island room. There's a Windfall Island room. And this final room. I feel confident about those 6. Do I not know the final room? Okay, I'm gonna list them again. Excuse me, just for myself. Outset Island, Ocean, Windfall, Forsaken Fortress, Dragon Roost, Forbidden Woods, Forest Haven. I don't know the last room.
Gotcha. Do you have a guess?
I'll give a guess. I don't even know if I can guess. I'll give a guess. I'm lost. I'm like searching my memory. I can't think of anything. I don't know. Just like is there like a dungeon room or something? Like a miscellaneous enemy room? I don't know. That's my guess.
Gotcha. So I will say you got very close. You did do a little bit of an oopsie through it, but I'll give you the ones you got right.
Yeah, all right.
You got Forest Haven, or Forbidden Woods, that kind of area. You have Dragon Roost Island. You had Outset Island was one of them. Did you say Outset Island?
I did.
Okay. Windfall Island and the Great Sea.
Yes.
You got all of those right. And then you also said the Forsaken Fortress. That one is a little bit, you're on the right vein, but it's not correct. You have an enemies room where it just contains all of like miscellaneous enemies, kind of like you guessed at the end. But then the final room that you definitely didn't mention was a room that's separate for all of the bosses and mid bosses.
I thought those might have been in the enemies room. All right, you got me.
You did really good on that question, though. I certainly could not have pulled that from my memory. I would have gotten the islands, like Outset, Dragon Roost. I would have gotten like those islands, and I would have gotten the Great Sea, but I couldn't have pulled anything else out from that.
Well, you got me on the 7th. That was close. I was, 1/7 of a question away from a perfect score. They'll never let me work on the project again.
What is that? You got, what's 1 divided by 7? Let me pull out my calculator app right now. I'll give you a full report card right now.
My honor as as a Zelda creator is at stake here. As someone running a Wind Waker fan project, if I don't get a perfect score, they're gonna tear down my entire YouTube channel.
All right, you got a 98.6% on this test, which is an A+.
I'll take it. I'm taking
congratulations. That's really good. I expected you to do well. I thought I was gonna get you with the Four Swords Adventure one for sure, and I was hoping I would get you with the Phantom Ganon sword, but I was like, there's a really good chance he knows that one.
Yeah, I don't know if I would have even known it off the top of my head if I hadn't researched it, because maybe I shouldn't say this too loud. I have not beaten Majora's Mask.
Really?
I have struggled with that game, and it's just because like it's not because I don't like it. It's just that like it takes a lot of attentiveness, and it's just like as an adult, sometimes you struggle to find the time to like really invest into like learning a new game, and it's like all of its world and environment. So it's like it's been a lot for me to take in, but I want to complete Majora's Mask and add that to my list. I think it's one of the only Zelda games I haven't played a significant portion of, and it's one of the only ones I haven't beaten. It's a small list. Adventures of Link is on that, Majora's Mask is on it, and I'd like to change that.
Hey, that's fair enough. Majora's Mask is my personal favorite Zelda game, so I am a little bit offended, but I'll give you a pass for now.
I appreciate that. Are you ready for your final question?
I am, and I am also prepared to cry just a little bit.
All right, I decided you have several available answers. And would you guess that this is also a Nintendo Gallery question?
No one touches it unless like they're doing a specific run for it.
See, the issue is like I've tried so many times to like 100% it because I'm like, I want to do that 100% Wind Waker playthrough, and I've never, like, I can't say that. I can't say I've 100% of the game. In a meaningful way, I have, but like I've done all the meaningful content, but like that's the one thing.
I get what you're saying, and I agree with you, because like, you know, like technically for like a complete absolute 100%, you would need to do it, but it's not part of the 100% speedrun. So, you know, does it actually count? It like I've tinkered around with it a little bit, but I've never gotten every single figurine, and unless I'm doing like a very specific video or like a challenge, I'm never going to.
Yeah. No, I like doing it like, yeah, as a challenge to myself, because there's a couple of figurines that you have to be in specific situations for. You can't just go around and get them. So I like that challenge of like, well, I have to, you know, catch this character at the right time in the game, or else I might lose the ability to capture them for a while at the very least. So it's like, I like that challenge, but it is something that's just like, yeah, there's so many figurines, and that and the like the Tingle statue quest, like I never do that anymore.
Yeah, I do it for the 100% just to say I did it, but any other gameplay, like you can get the magic armor so early in that trading quest that it's like, all right, cool, I got it, let's move on.
Exactly. But your final question: behind Karlov's desk in the Nintendo Gallery, he has displayed several of his sculptures. Name at least one of them.
Of his sculptures?
Name at least one of the sculptures that are behind his desk in the Nintendo Gallery.
Okay, so if I'm not terribly mistaken, I know he's got a few, and I believe one of them is specifically an Easter egg. This one is not going to be my final answer because there's one I'm more confident about. I'm pretty sure that there's something that is a specific Mario reference behind Karlov. I don't know if it's Mario himself, but I seem to remember reading that recently while I was researching a video. But the one that I'm more confident about, and now I'm starting to wonder if I'm mixing him up with the Happy Mask Salesman,
I'm Googling some things.
He has a sculpture of some kind that heavily resembles Darth Maul from the Star Wars franchise. That is my final answer.
Heavily resembles. Let me pull up some things to figure out if I can give you credit for that.
So the reason I say heavily resembles is because I don't think that it would have ever been explicitly stated, but I know that the Happy Mask Salesman definitely has a mask that looks a lot like Darth Maul. That is my final answer, so I am looking at a picture now, if that's okay.
Yeah, that is fine. I want to accept it if I know what you're talking about. Off the top of my head, I don't know of anything behind Karlov's desk that looks like Darth Maul. I want to give you the credit. I'm trying. I want to.
So I'm pulling up these pictures, and I could be totally wrong because I know that the Happy Mask Salesman definitely has, a mask that looks like it.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So he's got the bunny mask, he's got the all night mask, and then the Goron mask, Keaton mask. Trying to see if I can get a specific angle.
Yeah, I see the Happy Mask Salesman mask that you're talking about.
There's a very good chance that I just totally got that one wrong.
If that mask is not represented in game, I don't think I can give you the point. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
There's only 4 masks on the wall next to Karlov. Yeah, like you said, all night, Keaton, Goron, and the bunny hood.
And then you got a little pig, you got Windfall.
Yeah, I would have been willing to accept a pig, Tetra's pirate ship. There's something that looks like Saria. There's Windfall Island's lighthouse and Ferris wheel, a submarine, a salvage core ship, a statue of Nehru with and without the pearl, and then the jars of Lon Lon milk and the masks. That's what I was willing to accept.
Yeah, I think I just straight up mixed that up with the Happy Mask Salesman.
You know, it's understandable. I can't give you credit.
Yeah, because of the masks that are behind him.
It's okay. What was your other answer? You said the Darth Maul mask and the Mario?
Yeah, I seem to... So the episode that I was researching specifically for my short was Mario references in The Legend of Zelda. I remembered reading up on Karlov specifically for that video. Now that I'm looking at the full background and picture, I don't know why he came up because there isn't a Mario reference and he doesn't have the Darth Maul mask. So I don't know why I was reading about Karlov, if I'm being completely honest.
Yeah, I don't know. Are there any Mario references in Wind Waker? Do we know?
The only reference that I could find while I was researching the video was Mako looks like Professor Egad, kind of.
He kind of does, that's true.
He kind of does. I don't know if that was on purpose or if it's just like everything converges to crab kind of mentality where there's just a way you design a goofy character like that. But
I don't know. I think it might as well be intentional. We'll give him credit for that. But I can't give you credit for question 10. So let me tally up your score.
I'm really hoping that I got at least a passing grade. I don't think I did. I think I failed your quiz.
I don't think you failed it.
I'll take a C. If I can get a C, I'd be very excited. But I don't remember what I got right and what I didn't.
I've tallied it up. Do you want to know the truth?
I do want to know the truth. Did I get a failing grade?
You have received a 60% on the quiz.
Darn it.
But you know what? You did well. You got everything except Maggie and Mila. You forgot their names. The flags outside of Ganon's door you missed, and then besides that it was just the Karlov's background and the Seers. So everything else you got right. What you missed were hard questions. You can be proud of that.
I'll take it. I'll take it for what it's worth. I didn't get an explicit F, but that is a D-.
It is. And you know what? Like it's for that final question, it's like right answer but wrong question, because like if you're giving me like trivia for the Happy Mask Salesman, it's like you would have gotten it, but not this one.
I have some stuff in my mind somewhere. It just wasn't relevant to the conversation at all.
You know, man, I feel like I'm in school again. That's what I'm used to hearing from teachers.
I'm going to be real. I definitely expected your questions to be really hard because, like I said, as far as I'm concerned, you are the Wind Waker expert in the Zelda community. You spend more time with this game than really anyone I could think of. You could make an argument for Linkus just because he has like all of the speedrunning information.
There are people that I think know like the lore deeper than I do, or like have internalized it and theorized about it. In my opinion, I think like the Lorolian historian, like I think they have a deeper knowledge of Wind Waker, like off the top of my head. Like there's things that like when we really get into the nitty gritty of like what is implied via the game story, then it's like, well, I gotta double check that. Like, does it say explicitly like what happened before the flood? And like I have to double check like what the king says about how people fled to the mountaintops, and did they receive words from the gods themselves? Is it stated? Like that stuff I have to double check. So it's like I've been spending a lot of time with the models of the Wind Waker and its art style and its map. I've been spending years with it, but like I do have to double check those lore questions of like, well, let me kind of like go back to the game. It's like, did Koroks exist before the flood? Did they only exist after the flood? And that's stuff I have to double check. And then I'm like, I think they only existed after the flood. I don't know. Like, that's the kind of stuff.
I totally see what you're saying. And I get the same way, where even if I do know something like for sure, most of the time I double check because I know that if I don't double check and I put it in a video, there's someone else who did double check and they will call me out on it. And I like to avoid that when I can. It still happens. You know, there's only so much I can do about that, but I try my best to make sure it doesn't.
That's part of it, and I've dealt with that and sometimes like it's tough for me because a lot of what sometimes I have to dig into like what I think the game implies, which is different from like stuff it outright says. So it's like we were talking about the Forsaken Fortress, and like, was that a Gerudo fortress? Was that a Sheikah fortress? Like, what was that building? You mentioned like, could it have been like a Hyrulean royal army battalion like settlement, like fort? The game doesn't explicitly say, but there's implications. So it's like, what does that count for? So like, that's a big part of what I have to deal with my modeling project is like, are the implications valid or not? And that's just up to the fans. Like, everyone can have their own interpretation.
Yeah, that's fair. Now I'm starting to wonder specifically about the Forsaken Fortress. I know that immediately my thought is that if the Shadow Temple were to be anywhere in Wind Waker, my like gut reaction would be the Earth Temple in Wind Waker.
In style, right? But it's also, the Earth Temple is so confusing.
It's very different.
Right. It's also like as it brightens up, like it looks different. Like in atmosphere, yes, like it's kind of a shadowy temple. But then it's like there's a lot to imply to me that it's like it's more Gerudo influenced, and it's easier to see when it brightens up, and you could see it with like the yellow light of the sun, like the Spirit Temple, right? It relies on the mirror shield. It also has these desert animal statues that to me speak to Gerudo influence, with like the scorpion, the giant scorpion, and the giant snakes that are in the Earth temples.
See, and now that makes me wonder if perhaps the Forsaken Fortress has deeper connections to the Shadow Temple in that case, and that's why it has like Sheikah symbolism on it, but it's still like a very dark place that like draws monsters towards there, and there's like shipwrecks. I don't know. I'm gonna have to dive into that and try and figure something out. You might see a video come out of that. It'll be a while.
Let me know what you find
that comes out of that, because I need to make sure I don't sound like an absolute idiot on the internet more than I already do.
I'd love to know what you come up with.
Sweet. Well, I think that pretty much wraps everything up. Thank you so much for taking the time to put together quiz questions, to quiz me, to hang out tonight. I had a lot of fun. I hope that you had a lot of fun, and I hope that our audience has a lot of fun watching this.
Y'all, it's been an absolute pleasure. Yeah, thank you so much for having me on the show, and I'm still living the high of that your Tears of the Kingdom story rewrite video.
Oh yeah.
I want to credit it accordingly, but like I think that's still such a good video, and I recommend that everyone watch it, especially people that, you know, felt frustrated because of Tears of the Kingdom's implementation of its story. Swagmaster's done the work to kind of think through, let's keep the creative decisions, but like, what if this worked better in game? What if the story was better? And so it's a really great video.
Yeah, I think I agree with you. Looking back, that's one of my favorite videos that I've worked on. It's one of the few videos of my own that I'll actually watch. Most of the time I just like throw them out there and I'm like, I'm cringe. I don't need to watch myself being cringe. I'm really grateful for all of the effort that you've put into to help with my channel, and I hope that in the future we can keep growing together and take over the world. Or have a good time on YouTube.
Well, vice versa. Yeah, it's always a pleasure working with you, and I'm very excited to promote this on my channel as well. And yeah, definitely big things coming on the Unflooded channel. Subscribe if you're interested in seeing the world of Hyrule as it could have existed in the world and art style of The Legend of Zelda, The Wind Waker.
All right, we'll call it a night. See you guys.
Thank you so much for watching.